You are Locked On Nuggets Postcast, powered by Mile High Sports, part of Locked On Sports Denver on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
It is your Locked On Nuggets Postcast. What is going up, Nuggets Nation? And this is our final regular season show of the year. 82 games up, 82 games down as the Denver Nuggets finish the regular season on a high note, taking down the Houston Rockets. Your final score here, 126-111. More importantly, Denver clinches the number 4 seed in the NBA's Western Conference, meaning that they guarantee themselves home court advantage in their first round matchup, and it'll either be the Minnesota Timberwolves or the Los Angeles Clippers. So we should know who that opponent will be in the first round by the time we get to the end of the game. So we'll keep you updated here. The scenario is you need the Clippers to win the game against the Golden State Warriors. Assuming that is the case, Denver will match up with the Clippers. And if the Golden State Warriors end up winning the game this afternoon, the Denver Nuggets will draw the fearsome Minnesota Timberwolves, who have absolutely owned Denver in recent memory. So we'll keep you updated with that. Of course, it's going down to the wire. They're actually going to overtime right now. Are the Clippers and the Warriors knotted up at 111 apiece? So it will either be the Clippers or the Minnesota Timberwolves, depending on the overall outcome of this game between the Clippers and the Warriors. So like I said, we'll keep you updated with that throughout the course of the program. But why don't we dive into this game, and then we can kind of get into some big picture thoughts in the second half of the show. So as we mentioned, Denver tonight, or this afternoon, whatever you want to call it, they beat the Houston Rockets 126-111. Denver finishes with 50 wins and 32 losses. Houston finishes their regular season at 52-30. And this is now the third consecutive season in which the Denver Nuggets have won 50 or more games. So they live up to that end of the bargain. That dynamic continues despite Denver's decision to part ways with head coach Michael Malone just less than a week ago. So, since that move, Denver is now 3-0 under the command of interim head coach David Adelman. So, they're playing good basketball. And I think today, folks, you saw Denver come out. Houston only played their starters for about half of the game. Game didn't mean anything to the Houston Rockets. So kind of an opportunity for their starters to get one last opportunity to kind of, get some conditioning in, get some, game time in and all that good stuff before the playoffs begin next weekend. And for Denver, they took this game serious from the jump. And I think that's the big thing. David Adelman was talking about this throughout the course of his press conferences, after the news with Michael Malone, that, these guys stopped playing with joy. They stopped having fun out there. They didn't look like they were having fun, at least. And so far in the 3 games that we've seen from David Adelman at the helm as head coach, Denver seems to be a little bit more laxed. Like they just seem to be playing a little bit looser, playing for each other, not as uptight. And again, it's you expect some sort of a difference in the energy and the shift and whatnot when you fire your head coach. You're winning as head coach in franchise history with only 3 games left in the playoffs. And it seems so far in these 3 games, Denver's been able to get just that. And so they explode out of the gate this afternoon, outscore Houston 36-23, and then a pretty competitive second quarter with both of them recording 29 points each. But by the time we get to the fourth quarter, but importantly, the third quarter, Denver came out of half and said, okay, enough's enough, and just put the Rockets to bed after they pulled their starters. Denver outscores Houston 37-19 in the third quarter, and then Houston puts up 40 points in the fourth. But at that point, the game was essentially over. I mean, Denver led by as many as 36 points at one time in this game. So, Denver, between that good first quarter, kind of setting the tone there early, and then, really keeping their foot on the gas there coming out of halftime. They do a good job to solidify themselves and clinch themselves in this game to get that number 4 seed in the NBA's Western. There we go. It says my mic was unplugged for a second. Apologies about that. But they did what they needed to do today to the Denver Nuggets. That's kind of where we're at. And a quick live score update. It appears, never mind, that refreshed. It looked like it was 117-111 at one point with the Clippers winning. Now it's 117-114. So 2 minutes and change remaining in this Clippers and Warriors matchup as we get ready to find out who the Denver Nuggets will play in the first round of the playoffs. It will either be the Clippers or the Minnesota Timberwolves. And boy, oh boy, would the Timberwolves be an interesting matchup for this Denver Nuggets team. But looking at some of the stats from this game, I mean, Nikola Jokic had 14 points there in the first quarter, or in the first half rather, really solidified the intensity that Denver needed out of the gate in this game. So only played 31 minutes today. Of course, within spitting distance of a triple-double, he finishes with 18, 7 and 7, along with 2 steals and a block, rather, Jamal Murray puts up 16 this afternoon as well. He adds in 7 rebounds himself, along with 3 assists. And Michael Porter Jr., more so in the second half, finishes with the 19 points, but a nice game from Michael Porter Jr. today with 19 and 7 there as well. I mean, all of Denver's starters, for the most part, nobody eclipsed 20-plus points. That's just because, you were able to throw the Hunter Tysons and the Peyton Watsons and the Jalen Pickett's of the world out there in the fourth quarter. But all 5 of Denver's starters having pretty productive games, in regards to what they needed entering into this matchup today, knowing what was on the line. So 18 for Aaron Gordon, 19 for Michael Porter Jr., 18 for Nikola Jokic, 16 for Jamal Murray, and 11 for Christian Braun. So they get the job done. And old pal Russell Westbrook, coming off the bench this afternoon, puts up 17 points in his 23 minutes played as well, and 6 assists for Russ in the game this afternoon against the Houston Rockets. But, it's going to be very interesting because, if it's the Clippers, you feel one type of way. If it's the Warriors, you feel another. And the Clippers have been playing much better basketball since getting back Kawhi Leonard. That's something to definitely keep an eye on. Should that be the team that Denver ends up drawing? I believe they played, I want to say at least, I know for sure 2, but I want to say 3 of their 4 season matchups this year when Kawhi Leonard was not in the lineup. So kind of a different look Clippers team than Denver saw early in the year. That'll be something to keep an eye on. Remember, Denver lost, I want to say it was on a buzzer beater. I forget the exact dynamic of how they lost, but there was a brutal game early in the year against the Clippers. So, you don't feel that overall confidence with this Denver Nuggets team that you felt the last 2 seasons. And I understand that, Minnesota did what they did to them in the playoffs, but you still felt pretty good going into that series. You took care of business against the Lakers in round 1. Obviously the year prior, you won the NBA title. And so what is the mindset going to be for this Denver Nuggets team as they get ready to play in the first round of the playoffs with a new head coach and just, an overall different vibe than each of the last 2 seasons? That's going to be very interesting to keep an eye on here. But real quick, before we hit a break, looking at what David Adelman has been able to do, obviously with a super limited sample size in just 3 games, but 3 games and 3 convincing victories for the Denver Nuggets. I mean, they take down Sacramento 124-116 in the first game of the David Adelman era, and that's kind of poetic, being against Michael Malone's former team before he became the Denver Nuggets head coach. You take care of business against the Memphis Grizzlies, 117-109 there as well. And I understand that game was close, but Denver was able to pull away in that one. And then today, again, with that same sense of urgency, knowing that there was, pressure to go out there and play good basketball, Denver gets the job done 126-111. So you've got to be satisfied with what you've seen from the Nuggets so far in the David Adelman era. And will that translate to the playoffs? That remains to be seen. But with the limited sample size, with the little bit that we've seen from David Adelman as the head coach, you've got to be happy with just the overall vibe. They look different. The body language, they look like they're actually having a good time out there. They look like they are, comfortable. They're not tight. They're playing loose and they're playing for each other. So that is a good thing here for the Denver Nuggets as well. But okay, let's hit our break. When we come back, we will continue along with the conversation, continue to update you guys on this Clippers and Warriors game, and get ready for the playoffs. Some big picture thoughts before we get out of here as the Denver Nuggets take care of business this afternoon against the Houston Rockets, 126-111. We'll hit a quick break, come back, and do just that right here on your Locked On Nuggets postcast. Back in just a moment, folks. All right, you guys. Let me real quick tell you about our friends over at Prize Picks. Basketball and hockey playoffs are heating up, and there's no better way to turn your sports knowledge into real rewards than with Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. With Prize Picks, you simply pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and you're in. You can even combine players across sports, basketball, hockey, baseball, and more for your chance to win up to 2,000 times your cash. Here's what I'm picking this week. Luka Doncic for more than 28 points and Jason Tatum for more than 8 rebounds. In hockey, I'm going with Connor McDavid for more than 1 goal, and Austin Matthews for more than 5 shots on goal. What I love is how easy it is to set up your lineup in under 60 seconds. PrizePicks even runs cool promotions like Taco Tuesday, where they discount player projections up to 25% for even more value, and payouts are fast, safe, and secure. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. And let me also tell you about our friends over at Wayfair, guys, because spring is here, and that means it's home project season. Whether you're refreshing a room or tackling a full renovation, Wayfair is the best kept secret for all things home improvement. From small updates like stylish cabinet hardware to major upgrades like new vanities, sinks, or outdoor lighting, Wayfair has quality products for every single budget. I just upgraded my kitchen and bathroom living space with Wayfair, and the selection was incredible. Their free and fast shipping made it so easy, no hauling heavy items from the store. I love that they have top brands like GE and Moen at great prices, and shopping was seamless, and I found exactly what I needed to fit my space and my style. Wayfair makes home improvement easy. Get started now at wayfair.com. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. And last but not least, let me tell you about our friends over at FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are almost here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. I love how FanDuel makes betting so easy, whether I'm picking my favorite team or diving into player props. From 3-pointers to steals to assists, FanDuel has so many ways to bet your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 bonus, or your $250 in bonus bets today. That's our friends over at FanDuel. Be sure to check them out and let them know that Locked On Nuggets sent you. Okay, welcome on back into your Locked On Nuggets postcast. I am your host, Danilo Piro. You guys can follow me on social media at Media by AP. Really appreciate y'all for rocking with me throughout the course of this season here. It has been an absolute blast. We're not going anywhere for the playoffs, but it is the end of the regular season as the Denver Nuggets take care of business today. 126-111, your final score against the Houston Rockets. Again, now the third consecutive season in which Denver has managed to eclipse the 50 win threshold. So good stuff there. And real quick, under a minute left to play here in the Clippers and Warriors game. Clippers are up 121-117. So assuming that this score holds, that means the Denver Nuggets will take on the Los Angeles Clippers in round 1 of the NBA playoffs. And let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. You know, we'll see how it shakes out. But I think everybody in Nuggets Nation, myself included, is much more appeased at the idea of playing the Clippers in a first-round series than that of the Minnesota Timberwolves, a team that has just, absolutely owned the Denver Nuggets, broke the Denver Nuggets. Part of the reason why Michael Malone got fired as the head coach of the Denver Nuggets. I think avoiding Minnesota at all costs is a win in and of itself for the Denver Nuggets here. So we'll see if that score holds up, as I think that would be a major 2 thumbs up, I guess you could say, today for the Denver Nuggets if they end up drawing the Los Angeles Clippers as well in the NBA playoffs. But in regards to, big picture, let's see what they can do. I heard Scott Hastings and Chris Marlowe talking about it, Vic Lombardi and Chris Dempsey as well talking about it back at the Altitude Studios. I've talked about it on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. When you have the best player in the world, which the Denver Nuggets obviously do in Nikola Jokic, everything is on the table, including an NBA championship. Now, what's the likelihood that happens? Probably not that high. I think that Denver is missing some pieces. I think while they have been playing with a little bit of a renewed confidence since the firing of Michael Malone, I question and wonder if that's going to be enough. I think there's still issues with their defense. I think they lack toughness. Bruce Brown was kind of like that sneaky tough guy that could play a little bit of that enforcer role when you needed him to. Jeff Green as well. Denver lacks a little bit of that in their makeup this season as a team. They're not a very tough team at times. And can Christian Brown be that guy? Can Aaron Gordon step up and be that guy? We're going to find out, but the playoffs are around the corner. They'll have a handful of days now to recharge, get healthy, scheme a game plan, and get ready to try to go on a run this NBA postseason, just days after firing Michael Malone. And with that renewed overall confidence and vibe. hopefully Jokic is locked in. Jamal Murray obviously now played in consecutive games. We weren't sure we were going to see him the rest of the postseason or the rest of the regular season. And, Michael Porter Jr. turned in a pretty good second half performance this afternoon as well. So when it's all said and done, the Denver Nuggets this afternoon get the job done, 126-111. We'll see what happens in this Warriors and Clippers game. About a minute left. But either way, whether it's the Timberwolves, whether it's the Clippers, it's not going to be easy going for the Denver Nuggets. They're going to have to get in their bag. They're going to have to, develop a good game plan and go out there and give it their best shot, because they're not as good as they were last year and obviously the year prior, that they can just sit back and rely on their natural talent. They're going to have to go out there and want it. So we'll see how it shakes out. But Denver gets to 50 wins this season. Jokic does his thing, completes an incredible regular season, and Jamal Murray's back, MPJ playing decent. We'll see what the postseason holds now for the Denver Nuggets. But all right, folks, that is going to do it for me. Really appreciate you guys. As always, do me a favor on your way out the door, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button as well. You can also follow me on social media at Media by AP. Regular season over, playoffs coming up. We'll see what the Denver Nuggets do right here on your Locked On Nuggets postcast. Have a good one, folks.